Here's my new project. It's a 2010 Land Rover LR4 or Discovery 4. First year production. It's an HSE and it has the Lux package. 5.0 Jaguar AJ 133 V8 with 276,000 kilometers on it, I believe. Something around there. But it looks clean. It was detailed before I bought it, at least outside. It does not have the HD package, but being an early truck, it does have the 2-speed transfer case. And it's pretty clean inside. I already have a car seat for my little one. A couple of problems with it, obviously. That's why the fan's in there. So yeah. I'm going to do a quick walk around of some of the issues I found so far with the truck. First thing I'm probably going to deal with is the latch for the hatch. In here, there's a little flap that when you push in, pushes a micro switch. And something is wrong in there. You can feel it doesn't have a flap anymore. And it doesn't open. Now you can open it with the key, but obviously that's not super convenient. So that's probably the first thing we're going to fix. And it's nice and cheap. Second, and the most annoying, the third brake light is smashed and is just letting water pour into the back of the truck from up this piece of trim. So the back floor was soaked, hence the fan. I have a new rear light to go on. It's not an OE rear light, but the price was right, so we're going to give that a shot. Moving up the side, a couple of paint chips and stuff, but generally the paint's in good shape. There's definitely some rust inside the door here, down at the sill, and I imagine if I pull the rocker covers off, the rockers are going to be pretty rotten. But we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. There's a couple of solid paint chips up here at the front of the windshield. When I was looking at the ad for this car, there was a PPF, like clear bra, on the front up to about here. And you can see where, I don't know exactly what happened, but it kind of is still visible even though it was removed. And whoever removed it must have used one of those rubber wheels, and they messed up all the lettering on the hood as well. The worst visible part of the paint is probably right here, this massive chip. And it's starting to rust a little bit. Now, what isn't super visible is down here on this sill where there's no paint. From people sliding in and out of it. So I'm going to have to deal with that as well. But other than that, I think that's all the super immediate, easy to fix stuff. Actually, no, the headlights. The headlights are pretty nasty. The headlights really need to be buffed. I think they look worse in person than they do in this video. But they're easy to remove, should be easy to fix. So we'll give that a shot. This is the replacement latch trigger assembly. I just got this on Amazon. It's obviously not an authentic one. I am not willing to disassemble the entire hatch to replace the whole harness. What I'm planning to do is what I think a lot of people do, which is snip these wires and then just splice this new flap handle on. So if you pull it apart, you can see that basically all that's in there is a micro switch underneath and this flap to push it with a little spring in there. And so, I don't know, we'll pull the old one apart once we get it off, and we'll see what's actually wrong with it, but it certainly feels like this whole flap is disintegrated. So yeah, I might throw a little blob of grease in there before I install it. But I think basically what I have to do is pry the old rubber cup off, pull this out, there's just these little clips on each side, and then snip it off, splice it, and put it back together. I'm going to try to get this out intact. I already popped the seal with a screwdriver. Everyone else seems to take this off first. Okay, well there's the flap, completely gone. A lot of corrosion in there. Now, if I can depress the flap, which I don't even know if I can even get behind it. I might have to break the damn thing to get it off. Oh, there we go. Okay. Wow, there's not a lot of wire to play with. That's kind of rough. That's basically it. So I'm probably going to cut that off right about here and then splice the new one to it and leave a lot of excess. I don't really know what corroded in there. It's white. I don't know if it was an aluminum spring or if there was, well, we're going to find it. What's this? Yeah, this feels like some kind of pot metal. Some kind of pot metal flap. The new one's plastic, and I don't know how I feel about that. And this doesn't seem that bad compared to other ones I've seen, but it wasn't working, even though it feels like it's still basically a flap. So we're going to replace it. Okay. So what I did while I was off camera was I cut the wires for the new one, stripped them, fired these connectors on, checked them for continuity when the button's pushed, so I know that the micro switch actually works, and then I threw some heat shrink on here. So what I'm planning to do is just to snip this off as close to the micro switch as possible so I have a little bit of room to play with, and then just crimp these on, slide the heat shrink up, heat shrink them in place, and call it a day. So yeah, nothing to it but to do it. And I guess probably don't lose the wires in the hatch, that would suck. Is there enough room to get the stripper on there? Oh, clearly doing that together is going to make the trunk tie unlock, so maybe I'll stop doing that. Okay, here we go. Now I know this isn't the right crimper, but I don't care. Because the one with the proper jaws just doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel tight enough. And I just can't bring myself to use it. Oh man, this is tight quarters for the crimper. I think I slid off. Yeah, I did too. Well, I guess I'm cutting this off and I'm going to try again. I will be back. Okay, I'm going to try to give them a bit of a crimp, just with something a little lighter, and then I should be able to put enough tension on it to get the actual crimper on there. Okay. Sketchy, yeah. Will it work? I don't know, probably. Okay, and are you still attached? Yes. No. Fuck. Okay, round 3, I guess. Third time's the charm or something. Of course, I'm going to block that by trying to see what I'm doing. I mean, that's crimped fairly well, but there's no way the heat shrink is going to fit over that if it's just flat. Which is unfortunate. Because it is attached now, and I feel like as soon as I do this, it's not going to be attached anymore. And it certainly doesn't feel like it's attached. No, something's going on. There's just not enough meat to it, because that is crimped quite flat, and it just slid right off. All right, we're going to solder it. Okay, I'm switching to solder. I just can't get the crimper in there enough, and I can't seem to get the crimp tight enough on these tiny wires. So I'm just gonna start off now, put a little flux on here. They don't look corroded, but we're gonna do it anyway. All right. And there's no polarity, it's just a switch. I mean to say that. And random wire sticking out. Okay. 1. And 2, look at that, okay. Now, put that down. This should pop the release. Sick, beautiful. They're not gonna touch like that. I'm gonna go grab some dielectric grease, put it on there, and then I'm gonna put the heat shrink on. Okay. Found my dielectric grease. I'm just going to put a little bit on there, and then we're going to shrink down the heat shrink. And basically I'm just trying to keep any air or water away from the solder joint so it doesn't start to corrode from there up the wire harness. Run into that so much on the E30, especially underneath the car. If I can do anything to prevent it here, I'm going to. Try to open this up to slide it over so I don't just push the grease out of the way. Yeah. Good enough, right? Yeah, well. Clearly hung up on something, but I can't feel what it is. Oh, whatever it is, it's figured itself out. Cool. Getting it in there is going to be a little rough. Cool. Okay, let's make sure that this is in the right way. Yeah, cool. Certainly seems correct. Let's pop it back in and yeah, watch the crappy Amazon part not fit. That'd be hilarious. And I mean, it doesn't fit great, does it? But it does work. So, no idea how long that'll hold up versus the original one. And it certainly doesn't fit like the original one. But it does work. Sweet. So it's in and it works. I can't really ask for more. I think the part was 25 bucks on Amazon. I think just searching like hatch handle LR4 Discovery 4 usually brings up a bunch of different ones. So I just basically bought the cheapest one. As far as trying to crimp it goes, that was kind of a lost cause. Maybe if you have smaller crimps, or if you're just better at using a crimper, you could make it work. But I gave up and I soldered it because it wasn't worth the time to keep screwing with it. Yeah, that's basically it. Thanks.